Hey folks, LaTonya here. I'm so excited. The registration for Coaching Below the Surface is now open. So you could get more information at changecoaches.io. But just a few things with this program that I'm so excited about. This is going to go so much more beyond DEI. And it's all about coaching and in certain environments, coaching, creating mutual safety. It's ICF approved. It's SHRM approved. You'll get to meet with a cohort of leaders that are like-minded that will stretch you in new ways. So visit our landing page, join our wait list, and there will be a 10% discount for anyone that registers by May 15th. We'll see you there, folks. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Leading Below the Surface podcast. I'm your host, LaTonya Wilkins, award-winning executive coach and author. And today I have a very special guest. This guest is here to talk to us about AI. So not just general AI, but have you ever wondered how to use AI to learn better? Like maybe you take a training course and you want to follow up and you want to retain that learning. Have you ever thought about how to use AI in that way? I've been thinking about this a lot, and I'm kind of a nerd with it. I use AI every single day, several times a day. As many of you know, I used to work in corporate leadership development, so that I still have that in me, and we still do some of that work for clients. And so I've been seeing these companies pop up, and they're offering AI learning. And I'm like, this doesn't sound very good. This sounds like a ripoff. It sounds like you could probably do this on ChatGPT. And so if you're thinking about this, if you're thinking about learning, if you're thinking about learning in unconventional ways, if you're thinking about ways to enhance your learning, today's episode is for you. And today I have Melissa Milloway. We met at a I won't even say the name of the company, but a commercial real estate firm several years ago. Oh my gosh, 10 years ago. It was really fun, actually, like when we were there, because it was a small L&D team. It was very entrepreneurial, and we met and we stayed in touch. Since then she's just been a rock star at all these big name companies. She has this learning lab. I remember when she left that company, she had this learning lab, and like she just tinkers with different technologies and just puts them out there, and it's like open share. So it's really neat. So Melissa, what did I miss about how we met?
One thing that you may not know about when we were first starting to work together, the platform that has a bird on it, the social media one that shall not be named, that is now a different social media platform. Way back in like 2013, you actually were like, you should get on that platform. And I was like, really? And I think that was one of the biggest things that changed my career, because that's when I started really connecting with more people from like a professional standpoint.
Really?
Yeah, I remember exactly what you said, and you asked me a question about it, and I was like, maybe I should get on there. And then that would like change the whole trajectory of my career.
Wow, because you were really rocking it on that platform. Yeah. So like, what platforms are you on today? Because everybody probably knows what we're talking about, so we won't say the platform. But Blue Sky is the competitor, and I am on Blue Sky, but I don't use it a lot. But what platforms are you on today?
Yeah, so I did join Blue Sky, but I never made it a habit like to keep going back to it, and that's on me. I feel like it's hard to get into social media and like be consistent unless you're like doing it every day. So right now I'm like strictly on LinkedIn from like the professional standpoint. So I'm constantly on there. I have like a newsletter on there and just interacting with people and sharing my projects, my AI, generative AI driven projects on there. So yeah, that's about it. Just LinkedIn for me right now.
What do you think about AI?
I was actually thinking about this earlier today. And so generative AI, there's some sort of like input, and then it's generating something for you. So it could be generating text for you. It could be generating like an avatar who talks, like you put in the script and then it makes them talk. Or it could be generating an app for you. So like generating the code that creates an app. So that's kind of like it's generating something, like it's making something. But then I'm not like an AI expert. Like I just use generative AI a lot in my role. But there's also a portion of AI where it's using machine learning to Like, tell if you're struggling in an application and bring a pop-up to you that says like, hey, we noticed you're having issues with this. Maybe check out this like user guide or something. So that's not generative AI. That's machine learning, like looking at, and I'm saying that in the like easiest terms to understand because like I also do not fully understand all the other AI.
With generative versus machine learning, and again, folks, we're really simplifying here. So let's talk a little bit about like which of these do you use the most, and what does your use look like, your daily use?
Really good example of a way that I use generative AI at work that would like resonate with everyone is like, think about your company and when you go into goal setting time and like people are coming up with like their personal goals for the year. You're coming up with like your goals that like roll up to your boss. We have this like goal template at work. And I was like, what if I could create an AI agent, a generative AI agent from this goal template? So what I did was I downloaded the Word doc of the goal template, went into our like version of ChatGPT, uploaded it, and wrote a prompt saying that I wanted it to guide people through writing goals. And this is something that like our whole organization ended up using. So basically you just chatted with it and it walked you through like all of the questions to create like measurable goals for the year. And you could put in like your leaders' goals or different things like that. And then basically it starts like filling it out for you and you can go back and forth with it to tweak it to get it to like a place that works for you. And it makes it less ambiguous, like to fill it out, right? So it's like helping you through that process. And while that's not learning, like it's like an easy way of using it for like other things in your job.
Let's say, so you upload the template. And so do people have to be in ChatGPT to use what you created, like the app that you created?
Yeah. So for instance, in ChatGPT, you can create your own, what they call GPTs. And it's basically like you can copy and paste in a prompt to tell it what to do in all the files that you want. And then you can click share and then anyone can use it. So you can tell ChatGPT, I want you to walk people through step by step, like this document and filling it out. And I want you to give them tips based on this example I gave you. And so like the moment that you chat with that GPT, it will say, how do you want me to walk you through this document? And then you can say yes or no. And then it'll walk you through it. So it's like already set up for your use case.
Very neat. So I just learned something, folks. Like I said, I use it every day. I use it mainly for copywriting. I use it to summarize documents, things that are not sensitive. I use it as a thought partner, but I've never created a GPT. And I love that because we're launching a coach training program. And I think even having a GPT for that would be good. I mean, if people want different ways to kind of learn while they're in the program. So that is really, really helpful. So what about the machine learning? Because see, this is the stuff that I get. I don't know. I feel like generative is okay. But I think the machine learning stuff is really fascinating. I think it's more fascinating than the generative. I mean, how do you respond to that? Like, what comes up for you when I say that?
I think it's really fascinating. I think like for people like me, it's like so out of reach. Like it's already in a lot of the programs that I use, like Adobe, for instance. Like think about Adobe and how they have like the ability to like create transcripts from videos and different things like that. There's AI that's like working in the background to do all of these things, but it's not generative AI necessarily. I don't know that that's the best example, but like all of these tools are using AI in the background, but it's not generative AI, but it's not something that I can actually do myself because I'm not a machine, like a data scientist or a machine learning person.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking it's like your car or flying a plane or something. And it's, when the light comes on and there's something wrong with you're like their tire. I'm just making this up, but things like that. Those are the things that I get really excited about when I think about AI. Not because I think like humans are meant to be creative. And I think, yeah, generative, yeah, whatever, it's a good thought partner, but it's like those things that kind of keep you on task. Like I really like that stuff for fitness. Like I do a lot of yoga. So like maybe things like that, where it's like, oh, you might hurt yourself, or maybe you should do these stretches or things like that. Like that's the kind of stuff that I get excited about.
Yeah. And I think like the way that I use generative AI in my work is like two different ways, right? So it's one is empowering our team to do the work. So like helping us to write scripts, helping us to create learning plans and learning objectives for our courses. So that's basically like what people need to be able to do in our courses. So it's like setting up the foundation for that before we do any kind of like design or development. And then also like content development. So like helping us to create videos, helping us to create images like that follow a style guide. Like you can write a prompt to an AI tool and say, and give it your style guide. So all your colors, your fonts, and then it can just create the thing for you. So it's like that piece. And then the second piece is really the piece where it's helping train people. So like one of the things that I did was I created a generative AI role play. So I had like a fake leader, a person act as your manager's manager, and you're having a conversation, a chat with them. And they are responding to you in real time based on a prompt that you write, and you tell them how to respond. So you're telling this fake leader, use this tone of voice, only answer these types of questions, do this, do that. Like you're giving them a whole persona. And then whatever you're saying to them, they're like reacting back. And then at the end of the experience, it spits out a scorecard and it says how well you influenced them. Because this was like a chat on influencing a leader to buy into your idea.
Interesting. But do you think people are adopting that? Like, because that seems a little okay. So maybe let's get into like, how do you see generative AI influencing the world of learning and development? And then like with that question, are you seeing because you do a lot of technology stuff, Melissa. So would you say the adoption rates are higher than usual? Because you've been the early adopter in a lot of organizations.
Yeah, I think like back in November, I was telling people like the train hasn't left the station yet for this kind of stuff in my field in learning and development. Like it's still so new. Like a lot of folks aren't even using like anything like ChatGPT because they're like not allowed because of like privacy issues and stuff like that. So I would say just a few months ago is like when I started using it, and like people on my team started using it for things like role play. And I want to go back to like what your question was. I guess you were saying like, how does something like that impact?
Yeah. Like what are the adoption rates? Like, and how is it impacting learning and development? So you said the train hasn't left the station yet. So how are you seeing adoption rates for stuff like this, like GPTs and things?
For things like role play, I don't see anyone really doing that yet. There's not a lot of that out here because one thing you have to be able to write a prompt or guidance for that role play so the person doesn't go off into a tangent. So if I type something to that leader, like I typed a swear word to them or something like that, like they might leave the conversation we're having and just like go full robot mode and start talking about random things.
Oh yeah.
Really like break characters. So there's like this risk. And so to your point about adoption is those types of things are making people not adopt it because they're afraid of like the hallucinations that like AI has, or like what happens if it does go off the rails. So it's like you want to be testing it in like less risky situations and getting it right before you apply it to like riskier situations, like compliance training where it could hurt someone, right? Like you don't want to do a role play in like for a hospital and then have someone like do the wrong thing or be told the wrong thing and like a patient gets impacted.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because we're recording this in May of 2025, and the new Black Mirror. I'm a big sci-fi nerd, so the new Black Mirror is out, and there's Issa Rae is an actress in this virtual reality world, and like that's exactly what happens. Like the plan isn't followed, and they were basically producing this movie for 90 minutes for way less money than it would cost, and they were repurposing an older movie, and and so she almost got stuck in there, and it's like, that's a risk, and that's the thing is like, I think that's always going to be a risk. And I wonder if that's, Yeah, like I still am trying to figure out like, or I'm still sitting and watching like what's still going to be left to humans. Like, and I think, I don't know. I do think role plays will be with humans unless it's like something very, very specific, like that's tactical, step 1, 2, 3, like when you're doing training for something that is extremely tactical, like, yeah, it could work. But if it's something like, I hate that we call them soft skills. I don't know. I mean, we don't even do that well now, right? We don't even do that well without AI.
I agree. I feel like it's like such early days, and like, will we ever get to the point where it's even close to like the same? Because it's like you have to replicate the environment, the intensity of like emotion and things like that. And can that be done? I don't know.
Are there any technologies that you really like besides ChatGPT that some of us might want to go out and play with just to stay on top of trends?
One that I've been using a lot lately, and there's a lot of different tools that can do this, but the one that I've been using is called Replit.
How do you spell that?
Replit. And there's also one called Lovable, and that one's easier to use. That's a better entry point than Replit. But basically, you just tell it what you want it to code, and it will code it for you. It can be like an app. It could be a website. It could be anything that you can imagine to do with code, and then this thing can do it for you. And I've built like web apps. I built that role play, the generative AI role play using it. And then I built like a whole like animated web page using it. And it's just by you telling it what to do.
Wow. So you could just say, Replit, create a web page, and it will create a web page.
Yeah, but you have to be more specific. Like you have to give it guidance on like what colors you want and like kind of tell it where you want things. And then it helps because I do have like some experience in front end development. So when something goes wrong, it's easy for me to tell it what to do differently. But the tool Lovable, I have not used, but I was told that one is a really easy entry point, and you don't have to know how to code to use it.
What's one of the best things you created with Replit?
I created this app that does multiple things for people in my industry to track learning experiences. So basically, what the app does is they pick what they want to track in a specific tool, and then it creates the code for them so they don't have to code. And this is something my team used to have to do like completely manually and would take us so much time. And so I was like, well, now that we have generative AI, we can automate so many things, right? And so that's something I wanted to automate because it was such a big pain point for my team before.
Is there anything else that's exciting you with technologies?
It's everywhere. It's in everything now. So it's like, it's just like amazing to see how these different companies are putting things in. I think like with things like Photoshop, like if you're into like working with images and things, now all you have to do is like circle a part of your photo and you can tell it, fill this in with water or fill this in with something or give me a hat, and it will put it on you like flawlessly. It's just becoming so easy. Like these things that would take us lots of skills to do before and take us hours to do are just so much easier now. Yeah, I think that's like, I think it's part of the risk is if you don't know how to do something, there is a way to go back in history. So like you can go back to like your old version. But if you do something and you mess up and you can't figure out how to get it back, that's like part of the risk right now, because you would have to sit there like asking over and over again for it to do something different to try to fix whatever you couldn't fix. So I think that's definitely a part of the risk. Like when we're using these tools, if we don't have the skills ourselves, then it does make it a lot harder to get the output you want.
So what are some things that people can do today, just everyday people, to upskill their careers using AI?
I think like maybe one of the first things, if you've never used it before and never done anything with generative AI, is find something fun to do. It can be something fun at work or it can be something fun for yourself. So for instance, like I've seen people take pictures of like the inside of their fridge and then tell ChatGPT to make them like a list of recipes for that week or like give them other recommendations. And like there's different ways you can use it, creative ways in your own life that kind of get you into using it. And then you start to see how can I use this at work? Or even something as simple as, I know people hate icebreakers. So maybe this isn't like, not everyone likes icebreakers. Maybe this isn't the best idea, but one of the first things I did with it was I created an icebreaker for my team. And I said, okay, like, if I get put in all the names, we're going to do an icebreaker on your favorite summer activity or something like that. I can't remember what it was. And then it would assign like each person a different question that they had to answer. So like there's fun kind of ways to get into it that don't have to be work or could be work. And I think like also one of the things to help people get into it is it's a skill that like in all careers, like you're starting to see on like job postings, like knows how to work with generative AI or certain tools or things like that. And so like one of the things when I was a people leader to get my team into it, I was like, hey, like this is something that they're going to be looking for, like if you're looking for another job ever, or like even moving up in the company, seeing how you're using things to like scale or to impact something greater than our team. So I think there's ways to get people energized because it's a part of the future and it's a part of like where like that will help you in your career, a skill to build using it.
Is there any reason why people shouldn't use it? Like, what are some of your thoughts around privacy? So for me, I'm like, always like, oh my gosh, I've shared way too much with this thing. Like, it's it knows so much. It's like really scary. And so I'm just hopeful that it doesn't do anything with that data. But like, is there any reason why? Because I know you said some people had privacy concerns in some companies, but like, what about, again, everyday people?
I think that's something that's scary when I see, like, I watch a lot of TikToks. I don't post to TikTok, but I watch a lot. And I see people like using ChatGPT as their therapist. And something that kind of goes through my mind is like, what if that gets leaked? Like, can it get leaked? Like, what could happen with that data? Like you're talking about like very intimate, like personal details of someone's life. And like, maybe that's for that person to weigh those like decisions. Like, you know, you're putting something out there and like, there has to be something in the back of people's minds knowing that that's a possibility. So I think like just being cognizant that anything that you put on the internet can be discovered by others, even if it seems secure.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because like I'll ask it like personal stuff, like, and sometimes I'll use the personal chat or the temporary chat feature, and then because I have a paid version, but then other times, I'm like I forget, and then it's interesting because I want to hear what you think of this, but my friends are like, Google knows the same thing. Right. I mean, I don't know if you agree, but so going back to the therapy, like they probably would have searched the therapy article and Google knew they did that. And so I don't know. It's like, are we all screwed?
Yeah, I definitely agree. My partner and I were having like a heated debate about when you would Google something versus ChatGPT something the other day. And now I'm trying to remember what it was. But it was like pretty heated. I can't remember what it was though.
Well, because I think people think, because one of my friends, she got upset with me because she asked it for a lot of advice too, like personal advice. I don't think she goes as far as therapy, but it's the stuff we search is sensitive sometimes. And so she was just like, why are you upset? Like, she's like, do you Google stuff? She's like, it knows that you Google it. So like, it's the same thing. I was like, okay, yeah, I guess it just feels different, I guess. But yeah, maybe that's what the debate was about. Cause she was getting angry because I think she was thinking about herself and all the stuff that she had done. And she's like, it's the same thing. And I don't know. I think she might be right.
Unless you're like a big public figure, I feel like the worry, like, does anyone really care what people are searching unless they've committed like a crime or something? I don't know. I think the thing that worries me more, like career wise for like using generative AI, ChatGPT, like Gemini, like all of these things is like people who don't have the background and skills will use it in their career as a crutch, and they can't discern, like, it's not going to give you the right answer because it's pulling from everything on the internet. So there's things that in our field that are like myths, like learning styles is like a big one that's like a divisive topic in our field. And so like if it tells someone in our field field who doesn't have any experience or know about that, they're just going to go with what ChatGPT's told them, like, and it might not be true, or it might have parts of truth to it. But I think it's like, there's a skill that you need, like, in your career to have like that foundational information to be able to know what's right and what's wrong when you ask it questions. Like, is it actually telling me the truth about like things that are a big part of my career? Like, if a doctor asked it something and it gave them like the wrong answer, like, would they have that foundational knowledge to know it was the wrong answer, or would they just go with it?
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I think sometimes my team will use it and I'm like, this isn't correct. Or it's not that it's not correct. It's not that it's not factually correct. It's more like, this is going to be for academics. I'm not going to use this, right? Like, it's like this, or, where I've seen it's completely wrong are citations. So if I'm like, that is scary, because it's like, I'll be hurrying up doing a PowerPoint and I'll ask it and, it'll give me 5 facts about the future of work. And then I go to those citations and they're not correct. So always check those. I'm sure you've seen that too. So I'm like, where is it getting this information from?
So the way that it works, and I'll probably explain it very poorly, is it's when it has access to or captures like all of the data from on the web, it's not capturing it like we're capturing it. And sometimes it's storing it from like a moment and making things up. So like one of the things that I was told that like generative AI cannot do is like find like links correctly, like to things like citations and things, because it doesn't have the ability to actually like go to those things, like click the links and go to those things and like get that, if that makes sense. But now it's hooked into the web, right? Like, it has like the ability to search the web. You know how it has like there's like a little icon that says search the web. So you can tell it to search the web, and that seems to be more accurate. But before, it could never do that, because what was happening was like last year, let's say June, it didn't have access to the internet. All it did was take a picture of everything that was online and put it into a database. And so like everything that we were using ChatGPT for in June did not have information from April on, because it never captured that.
Oh, I remember that. And everything on the web isn't true. So yeah, that's interesting. So folks, if you're trying to develop a presentation, that's probably not the best way. If you're trying to search like for a restaurant, I don't think that's the best way. I think, people have been posting about that on LinkedIn. Like there's a different search engine now. Like I wouldn't use ChatGPT to do that. I mean, it did give me some ideas on, like things to do in Chicago. Like I wanted to take someone from out of town on a really cool like date. And, it gave me some interesting ideas, but I mean, that's rare. Like, but it only gave me like 2. And it was like, oh, these orgs actually exist. So it's kind of a coin toss, right?
I agree. Like, I've had the same experiences. I was working on a project and I needed sound effects. And I was like, I couldn't think of, this is where it actually helped me. You know how like you're at like at a hospital or something and there's like that ding ding, like it's like the announcement thing before like an announcement happens, or on an airplane it's like ding ding and then it's like an announcement. And I kept Googling it and I was like, I need the thing that goes ding ding before an announcement, and I couldn't find anything on Google. So I went to ChatGPT and it knew exactly what I should search for on Motion Array, which is like a website where you can get multimedia assets. And so it told me like keywords to put in, and immediately I got like the sound that I was looking for. And then I asked it like, can you search Motion Array and give me sounds? But it like did a really horrible job at that. But at least it gave me like enough information to put into Motion Array to find it myself.
Anything else you would like to leave folks with around technology?
Looking back, I think like it's made me more creative than I've ever been before. because like in my field, we often need people who are subject matter experts to like help us to build a project. And now it helps me to give them something to react to. So I can act like ChatGPT is my subject matter expert, and I can actually bring the people who I'm working with who are subject matter experts like something to react to. So it's made me like faster and save so much time like in that respect, and like more creative, because like I'll have these ideas in my mind and I'll be like, I don't know how to write a script in the tone of who's like a famous person, someone out there, a famous person, like, but like, what if I could do that? Would that make this like video more interesting, more engaging? And so like, you just go back and forth with it, and like, it spurs like more and more creative ideas. So I think like that's the exciting thing about it, is like, it can help you. It can help you in those things like you want to be better at, or like couldn't be better at before because you didn't have time.
So if you're writing like a script, or if you're writing like a video or filming a video, like a famous person, Ryan Gosling or whatever, it can do that, is what you're saying.
Yeah, like, so if you wanted to do something in their tone or something like that,
Right.
yeah, it could
Which is
definitely help.
weird, right?
I don't know why you would want to do that.
Right. I just think it's so, there was this app I had on my iPhone. I took it off. It was like in beta, but it was like Snoop Dogg, like reading my phone screen. And I was like, this is weird. It's like, I don't really want Snoop Dogg in my phone. I mean, it's like, this is like really, I mean, you could change it to other people, but I was like, I don't think I want any of these people on my phone. I just want to know what it's saying. But anyways, so Melissa, how can people find you? Because I know you have different sites where people can learn more.
Yeah, definitely. So LinkedIn, Melissa Milloway, and you just type that in. Hopefully, I'm the only Melissa Milloway I think there is, period. So like that'll be probably pretty easy. And then I do have I have a website. It's Mel Milloway at github.io.
Thanks everybody for listening today. We had a lot of fun talking about this, and we'll definitely see you next time.